haven't found any question till question number 94. Maybe we can find ahead. Now question number 95, we have to match this these are the sources, column 2, match cell types. We have cell types, then we have their sources, and then we have the function roles, the primary function roles. So in this also we should target the easiest one. Leydig cells. We all know Leydig cells, they are present in the testes. Right? Leydig cells, they are present in the testes. And testes may what they do? Hormone secretion. Male hormone secretion, right? Androgens, testosterone. So we have Q4B. Now see the option which has Q4B. We have two options. Coming to Leydig cells, microglial cells. Microglial cells, obviously microglial cells, they are present in the brain. Fine. And microglial or macrophages all have role of phagocytosis. So P3C. We have P3C. Then we have pneumocytes. Name pneumo only suggests it belongs to lungs. Fine. So it would be lungs, S1, and gaseous exchange. They are present in the alveoli basically. So S1D. So only we have discussed it all. On cells, they are present in eyes, and in eyes they do visual transduction. So the correct answer is D. Right? Coming to question number 96, in which we have ecological concepts, and they are these are the definitions. So in this we have first, this question is good. Like this question is good. This is not a direct question. It is not a direct NCERT question. It is a good question, a level up question. So we have dominance hierarchies. Dominance hierarchy means if you're dominating something, that means you're competing, right? That means you are excluding others. So it would be exclusion of competing individuals using agonistic behavior. Agonistic means opposite behavior. You're not exhibiting the similar behavior, exhibiting the opposite behavior, and you're dominating it, right? The other species. So dominance hierarchies would go to third, exclusion. So let's check for it. So we have P3. Then we have territory. Whenever we say territory, that means we say, okay, this is a territory of, say, lion. Fine. That means it has two characteristics. First, mating, and the second is food. Then only we say that, okay, this is a territory of lion. So territory definition would be, search for the definition, preferential access to the food and mates in the group. So territory would be 4, Q4. So Q4 is over here. Fine. Then we have altruism. Altruism is that when you give up your own reproductive potential to benefit other individual. Fine. When you give up your own worth for the other individual, and there is no profit to the individual which gives up. Fine. So altruism would be this R1, and the last is kin selection. Kin selection, that means selection acting on related animals, which affects fitness of an individual. So the correct answer would be C. We have matched it all. Fine. So this was a good question. Coming to question number 97. It's again an NCERT, direct NCERT question. We have hormones over here, their primary source tissue, and their primary target tissue. Fine. So first is we have epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline, noradrenaline. One or the same thing. It is also released by chromaffin tissue, which is present in the adrenal. Fine. These are the kidneys, and here are the adrenal glands. So here they are present. Fine. In these glands only these chromaffin tissue are present. And as you know, it affects the heartbeat, heart rate. So obviously it will affect the heart. Then we have prolactin. Prolactin, it is a pituitary hormone. Fine. A pituitary hormone, and it secretes and it affects the milk secretion. So here, related to milk secretion, we have pigeon's crop. So it would be this Q3D. So Q33, Q3D, P4B, then calcitonin. Uh, Calcitonin may we have thyroid, fine, and it will obviously affect the bones, calcitonin bones, fine, because thyroid it affects the calcitonin, the calcium amount in the body, fine, and hypothalamus, thyrotropin releasing hormone. So hypothalamus, it releases the releasing hormone or the inhibiting hormone. Two types of hormones. So thyrotropin releasing hormone, it is released by hypothalamus, and it affects the obviously pituitary because hypothalamus controls pituitary only. So the correct option which satisfied all are this thing. It is C. P4B, P4B, Q3D, Q3D, R2C, and the last is thyrotropin releasing hormone S1A. Fine. So the correct answer would be C. Now coming to question group 98 to 100, in which we have again multiple select questions. Now this is a question which is related to current affairs plus concepts related to Krebs cycle. Fine. Krebs cycle and the whole glycolysis thing. Or the pyruvate cycle. So in this, we must all have heard about the 2DG, which was released by DRDO during the COVID time. Yes, in last year only, 2021. Fine. So this 2DG was basically, made for the COVID-19 patients. So first let's read the question. 2-deoxyglucose inhibits the proliferation of cells and hence finds use as an anti-cancer agent. It is also used in COVID therapy where it blocks hyperproliferation of viral-infected cells. Mechanistically, 2-DG blocks glycolysis by inhibiting the activities of which of the following enzymes. So we all, have studied about the glycolysis cycle, right? In which in which several enzymes are involved, like what I say, in which are first of all we take glucose. Glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate is converted to fructose 6-phosphate. Fine. In a glycolysis pathway, and then ultimately it results in the ATP and energy. Fine. And the pyruvic acid. So in this, several enzymes are involved in this glycolysis pathway. So in the first step where glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate, so we have hexokinase enzyme. And the second step, we have glucose 6-phosphate isomerase, which converts glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. Fine. So these two enzymes are blocked due to the deoxyglucose or 2-DG because the structure of the glucose changes. Right. The structure of the glucose changes at the 2O position. There, in the OH, this H is removed. Fine. Sorry, this O is removed and we're only left with H. So the whole structure of the glucose changes and hence it becomes unfit for getting converted into the next, what we say, into the next component. Fine. So that's why these two enzymes, they will not be able to perform their functions and they will get blocked. So it is a very good question and it is related to both current affairs and your conceptual knowledge of the glycolysis pathway. Fine. So the answer would be hexokinase and glucose 6-phosphate isomerase, phosphate isomerase, A and B. So I hope it is clear. In the glycolysis pathway, we have when glucose gets converted to glucose 6-phosphate and glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. So here we basically have the enzymes hexokinase and glucose 6-phosphate isomerase functioning over here. So when the structure only of when we insert 2-glucose here, 2-D-glucose means 2-deoxyglucose over here, this structure only it doesn't form. Right? If the structure only doesn't form, then the functioning of both these enzymes will get affected. So hence, the answer would be hexokinase and glucose 6-phosphate. Fine. I hope the explanation is clear. Coming to question number 99. According to Abbe's equation on microscopy, the ability to resolve two entities inside a cell by light microscopy depends on which of the following factors. So this is a theoretical question. There is no concept in it. Fine. And the answer would be wavelength and numerical aperture of the objective lens. Fine. So C and D. Coming to question number 100. Match the animal inactivity behaviors listed in column 1 with the representative animals in column 2 and their definitions in the column 3. So we have torpor, hibernation, winter sleep, estivation. All of these, they sound similar, but the organisms, they are different and the definition is also different. So we have torpor. So torpor, it is basically exhibited by the hummingbirds. And what is there exactly that it is basically an everyday hibernation, we can say. It occurs in everyday or daily cycle in which, the metabolism is decreased with lowering the body temperature. Now, in many of them, the body temperature is not lowered, in some of them actually. But in this, the body temperature is lowered and the metabolism is decreased. Fine. And it occurs daily, in the daily activity cycle for some time. Metabolism is decreased by, decreasing the body temperature. So it is exhibited by the hummingbirds. Coming to hibernation. Hibernation, it is exhibited by the this ground squirrels. And in this also, there is metabolism decrease by lowering the body temperature, but it is done for weeks or months. It is not on a regular or daily basis. Fine. So hibernation is by ground squirrels. Torpor is basically by hummingbirds. Fine. The only difference between these two, torpor and this is torpor, it is a daily activity. Fine. And in hibernation, it is weekly or monthly. Then we come to winter sleep. Winter sleep is obviously exhibited by polar bears. And this, there is prolonged period of inactivity without reducing the body temperature. Right? So it is basically a prolonged period of inactivity in which the organism doesn't do anything and goes into resting stage. Right? And there is no decrease in temperature. Just imagine like if the polar bear decreases its temperature in the already, polar conditions, in such cold conditions, then how will it survive? So from that logic, we can understand that polar bears, when they undergo winter sleep, they don't reduce their body temperature. So by this logic, we can remember this, fine. And at last, we have estivation, in which it is basically done by Australian burrowing frogs. And it is also an inactivity period which accompanies extended period of dryness. Right. So in this we have, it is inactivity period, which after that, which is accompanied by, extended period of dryness. So the correct option which satisfies all these are B, B4C, and Q, 3D, R2A, and S1B. So this was also a good question, means not from NCRT. Now coming to the numerical type question in which we need to solve. These questions are very easy actually. Question number 101. If the vital capacity of an individual is 4900 ml, tidal volume is this, and respiratory reserve volume is this, the expiratory reserve volume of the individual is. So like you all know, we have, volumes for our lung, which we, which are used to measure the capacity of a lung, the capacity of our inspiration, the capacity of our expiration, the capacity of the residual air, which is, gas which is left in our alveoli. So we know that vital capacity, it is the inspiratory reserve volume, expiratory reserve volume, and tidal volume. This is again a question from NCRT. If you don't find it from there, so you can get from any standard book. But it is of +2 level only. Fine. So inspiratory reserve volume value is given over here as 3300. Expiratory reserve volume is given over here. Sorry, that we have to determine. Fine. This we have to determine. And tidal volume is given over here. I guess 500 ml, right? It is always 500 ml only, tidal volume. And this we have to find. Inspiratory is given 33 and vital capacity is given as 48. So taking everything over that side, we'll get expiratory reserve volume. We can do it over here if you want. 4900 is equal to inspiratory reserve volume. We have 3300 ml plus tidal volume. We have 500, and then we have to find ERV. If we take everything that side, so it would be 3800. Now we are left with 1100 ml. So 1100 ml would be a correct answer over here. Fine. It was a very, very easy question, direct question. Coming to the next question, a typical food chain involves producers, herbivores, primary carnivores, and secondary carnivores. Based on Lindman's law of trophic efficiency, producers have this much amount of energy. The energy that will be stored in secondary carnivores is. So we have over here the producers, then we have the primary consumers, the primary herbivores, then we have the secondary consumers, we have the secondary carnivores. So here we have 40 kilojoule of energy, and we know that Lindman's law is the 10% law, in which only 10% of energy it goes to the next trophic level, which is stored and passed on to the next trophic level. So if we apply this 10% law, so here if we apply it, so we get like this. Here we have 4. Here we have 0.4, and in secondary carnivore we have 0.04. So the correct answer would be 0.04 kilojoule. So we can easily solve by this. 10% of 40 kilojoule. The answer would be 0.04 kilojoule. So again a very easy question.